Hello everyone, myself Sowmya, Assistant Professor in CSE AIML Department, MLR Institute of Technology. So in this video, we are going to discuss about AngularJS forms. We are going to study about different input controls. So what are the input controls you're using in the form tag and how you're connecting to AngularJS application, and we'll also see some example applications. So we know in HTML, different form tags you are using. So to identify each and every tag, we are giving some ID or names. In the same way here in AngularJS, you are binding your HTML elements to the AngularJS using an attribute or using a directive called ng model. So in all the form tags, this will have an important role. So here by using this ng model, you're going to bind your AngularJS application with the HTML document. So what is how to use this ng model? We have seen so many programs previously in the previous videos also. So input type is equal to text. For this text field, I'm giving a model name as first name. So using this, you can access this content or you can access this element in your AngularJS application. So input controls. So we have so many input controls like checkbox, text box, password, selection box, radio buttons and so on. So here we are mainly focusing on few elements of input controls. So under this we are going to discuss about the different input elements, selection, drop down list and button elements. So coming to the input elements. So input elements may be anything. It may be a text, it may be a password, it may be an email ID, it may be a checkbox, it may be a radio button. So we have so many options for input tag. So this we have seen many of the times in the previous videos also. So this is for input type text, that is text field. So this we know, this is common for all the HTML, AngularJS programs. Now here I'm opening a division for my AngularJS application. Here I'm giving ng app as empty. That means you're not going to design any module for this program. So now in the form tag, I'm just opening a form tag. Here I'm creating a text field. For this text field, I'm giving the model name as first name. I'm then closing the form. So now I need to display this value. Whatever the value is present in this text field, I want to display in my AngularJS. Now what I need to do, I'm giving a message you entered. Just display the model name here, first name. So what is the model name? First name. The same thing you are displaying. How we are displaying? Using this double curl braces. So this model name will bind your HTML data to the AngularJS form. So this is the output. So here you are getting one text field. Whatever you entered in the text field, the same thing will be displayed in here. So that is the use of ng model in this program. So we'll try to execute this program. So I'm getting this here. If I enter CSM, I am getting the same output here. So why? Because how it is connecting? Using the ng model. So next example is for checkbox. So we know this is mandatory for all the AngularJS applications. I'm making a division for my AngularJS application, which is where ng app is empty. Empty in the sense you're not developing or designing any modules. So now within the form tag, I am creating a checkbox. For this checkbox, I'm giving the model name as myWhere, and then I'm closing the form. So here I'm simply creating a checkbox. Before that checkbox, I will get this message, check to show a header. So if you check that, some header will be displayed. If you don't check that, that will not be displayed. What is that header? We will see. So I'm opening a h1 tag. So here I'm using a directive called ng show. This we have discussed in the previous videos. So ng show in the sense it will be shown. It will be shown. So when it will be shown, this you're linking to myWhere. So myWhere is a ng model name of your checkbox. That means if your checkbox is checked, so indirectly you are specifying some condition. If your checkbox is checked, then this corresponding text will be displayed. If your checkbox is not checked, then this will not be displayed. So initially our checkbox is not checked. So that's why I don't get this message. So that's all. I'm closing division, I'm closing body and I'm closing HTML also. So this is the output I will get. Initially, if it is not checked, then I don't get this. If it is checked, then I will get this. We'll see, we'll try to execute this. So initially I'm just getting a message followed by checkbox. If I check this, I'm getting my header. If I again remove this, that will be removed. So that is the use of ng show. So coming to the next example, so in this example, we are focusing on radio buttons. So of course, this is mandatory for all the programs. So the complete body I'm making as ng app, so which is empty because I'm not writing any modules here. And coming to the form tag, I'm opening a form tag and then I'm adding 3 radio buttons here. So we know input type is equal to radio. And for radio buttons, we have a condition. What is that condition? The group name should be same for all the radio buttons. So here I am taking 3 radio buttons under one group. So I should give the ng model name as a same name for all these 3 radio buttons. So if I give the common name for all these things, then only I can select only one item at a time. So that is the logic of radio button, right? So radio button in the sense at a time, you should able to select only one. So if one is selected, other should be disabled. But coming to the checkboxes, I can select any number of checkboxes. So if you want to make like the working of radio button, it depends on the model name. So if you give the same model for all the radio buttons, then only the logic will work. And I'm also giving value for all these. I'll tell you why I'm giving values here. So this value may be accessed by the backend. So whenever you're doing some comparisons, then at that time this value will be used. But what I want to display on the web page, outside of this tag, whatever you're writing, that will be displayed on your web page. That's all. I'm closing this form. So now, if I select docs, what I should do, what I want to get. If I select on cards, what I want to get, that we will decide, that we will write in here. So for that, I'm making a division. Here I'm using the switch case. So we in the previous videos, we discussed about the directives, predefined directives. So we have so many predefined directives like ngIf, ngShow, ngHide, ngClick and so on. We discussed so many in the previous video, but this is a new directive again, ngSwitch, which is similar to a switch case. So ngSwitch, so you are applying a switch case here with one variable. What is that variable? MyVar. So what is MyVar here? So MyVar is the group name. So the name which you have given for all these radio buttons. So now for this group name, we have 3 possibilities, and that means under that switch case, I should write 3 more cases to check these 3 values. So to check the cases, again I'm opening a division, and what is the directive I'm using here? ngSwitch when this value matches to docs, when this MyVar value matches to docs. So here I'm writing DOGS as small case. That means what you're using here, the value, whatever the value you assigned for each tag, that value I'm comparing, I'm using in the comparison. And what are the capital letters you are writing, that is only for displaying. So if you observe here, for displaying, it is displaying the capital. But whenever you compare internally as a backend, then you need to use the given value. Whatever the value you are assigning to each tag, that you need to observe. So ngSwitch when this value matches to docs, what I need to display? In H1, display docs and give a paragraph, welcome to world of docs. That's all. You're closing this case. How you am closing? By closing this division. I'm opening one more division for the tuts. ngSwitch when is equal to tuts. If it is tuts, display these 2 lines, close this inner division. And third case, third division is for cars. ngSwitch when it is equal to cars, then display these 2, close your inner division, and after that all cases are over. Now you can also close your outer division, then close your body and close your HTML also. So the output will be displayed like this: docs, tutorials, cars. So now if I select docs, these 2 will be displayed. If I select tutorials, these 2 will be displayed. If I select the cars, these 2 will be displayed. So we will see, we'll try to execute this. So I'm getting 3 radio buttons here. Initially nothing is selected. If I select docs, I'm getting these 2 lines. If I select tutorials, I'm getting this. If I select cars, I'm getting this. And if you observe, if you select one, the remaining things will be disabled. That is the logic of radio button. How this logic works? If you give a model name, common model name for all the 3 radio buttons, then only it will work like this. So next example is for selection box, that is a drop down list. So in the input controls, we have seen the input tag. Now we are going to see the selection tag. So we know this is mandatory, and for the body tag I'm giving ng app. So you're making the complete body as AngularJS, and I'm opening a form tag. Here I'm giving message like select a topic. Then now I'm creating a drop down list using select a tag. Select, for this tag I'm giving ng model. So ng model I'm giving as my var. So under this I need to add the options. So I am adding 4 options here. The first option is empty. So initially it is empty. So whenever you display this drop down list, initially it doesn't show anything. And remaining 3 items are docs, tutorials and cars. So in that drop down list you are adding 4 different items. The first item is defaultly empty and the remaining 3 items you are writing. Then you're closing selection tag and you're closing this form tag. So how I can identify this selection tag? Using this model name called my var. And if you observe, for all these things we have given the values. The previous video we have seen the usage of value to check the comparisons, to check for the inner values you are using this values. Whatever the values you are writing outside the tags, that is only for display. Now here again I'm using, so division ng switch is equal to, what is the variable name? My var. What is the model name? My var. Under my var we have 3 different possibilities. Of course the first option is empty. If it is empty, I don't want to show anything. If it is docs, div ng switch when is equal to docs, the same thing whatever we wrote in the previous program, the same thing you are writing. This is first division, second division, third division, and you're closing the final division. The difference is, in the previous program we have used radio buttons, but here you are creating a drop down list. That is the only difference. So this is the output I will get. So it is a drop down list. If I select tutorials, I am getting these 2 lines. If I select docs, I will get these lines. And if I select cars, I will get this one. So let's execute this. So I am getting a drop down list. Initially it is empty. Why? Because we have added an empty item. So now if I select docs, I am getting this. If I select tutorials, I will get this. And if I select cars, I will get this. Again, if I select nothing, so all things will be removed. So that is about selection tag. So now we are going to focus on the button tag. So button controls. So we know this is mandatory. And here I am writing ng app and ng controller for my program. So now I am creating a button. So ng click. So ng click is just similar to your on click in the JavaScript. So whenever you click on this button, what is the button name? Click me. Whenever you click on this button, just call a function called say hello. So previously we were using ng model for all the previous things, input tag, selection tag or a radio button. For everything we used ng model, but for this button tag we are using ng click. Now, so after creating the button, I am just displaying a message called greeting. Then that's all. You are closing your AngularJS part. Next, you are opening the script tag. Here I am creating a module. For this module, I am adding a controller. The controller name and the module name should match with the ng app name and ng controller. So we know the controller function will take the second parameter as a function with one predefined parameter $scope. So now here I have a one unknown variable greeting. I am accessing that value using this $scope. So $scope.greeting, initially it is empty. So initially it is empty. So now I have a function. We called one function when the button is clicked. What is that function name? Say hello. So that I need to define here. How I can access that function? Again using the same object. So $scope dot your function name, that is say hello. But it's not a variable. It is a function. So I need to define that. How I can define that? Using the function. So again, you are writing a function to solve this function. So so in this function, what I'm doing? I'm changing this greeting value. So initially the greeting value is empty, but whenever you click on this button, this function will be called, and in this function, you are modifying this greeting value as hello AngularJS. So that's all, your closing script, body and HTML. So initially only the button and this heading will be displayed. So initially the greeting is empty. So we are displaying the greeting initially also, but it is empty. But whenever you click on this button, this function will be called and this function will modify this value. See the output for this. So initially I am getting this output. Here the greeting is there, but it is empty. But if I click on this click me, the greeting value will be changed to hello AngularJS. So that's all about this form controls, right? So in this video, we have seen some different input controls of form tag like selection tag, checkbox, radio button and button tag. And we have also seen some example applications. Thank you.